Hello guys, and welcome to Total War Shogun 2. Today I want to talk to you about diplomacy. I want to teach you how this works. So, very simple. Right down here at the bottom right we have our diplomacy button, hotkey K. This is where basically all of the diplomacy in the game will take place. You have your nation up top. You'll be able to, by default, see the attitudes that others have towards you somewhat, even if you don't know where they are yet, and then ones you have encountered will appear down here. Any other that you encounter, any of their characters, their units, their borders, they'll start appearing down here as well as time goes on. By default, we can see what the other nations here think of us. If we hover over, we can get some information as to why. These guys, the Kono, hate us because we're at war with them, of course. Whereas the Miyoshi here, they have a plus 15 with us, and all of that is coming from the fact that we have a trade agreement. You can also see important treaties that you have with somebody else right here. It'll show up as like little things here. So we are trading and we are at war. Before we delve into any other menus, let's just go ahead and look at these things to the side. So real quick, we can see our relations summarized and the other partners that, I'm clicking on here, relations summarized. If any relations involve someone that we don't know yet, it'll say undiscovered and that person's name. As we can see here, the Miyoshi have an ally that we haven't discovered yet named the Besho, using the OBS logo as their flag. The more you play of this game, the more you'll just start to memorize these symbols and you'll be able to just at a glance, yes, that one, and you'll just kind of learn. You can see the leader, not that the leader really matters for much, but you can see the name. Power, next, this is kind of a simulated rating of total military strength. You could see yours compared to theirs. It doesn't give you the ranking, but scarier sounding name, the more powerful, essentially. Power is a combined value determined by your land and naval forces. So have a big navy, but a small land force, and you might dislike it, actually. It does have the negative effect of the stronger you are, the more the AI will be programmed to fear you and turn against you. Same thing with prosperity. It's a measure of wealth. You can get this idea to determine how wealthy you are compared to others, and it's based on income, but it makes the AI want more from you. They're going to demand more in trades if you are wealthier, and you might get threatened for money, which would not happen if you were broke. The game's AI, Total War AI, is designed to exploit and destroy you and gang up on you at the first sign of literally anything. And this is actually how they do it, is these ratings. Then you can just see how many provinces are owned by any given faction. We can also see for the other faction, this only matters for AI, but the attitude. So we can see the attitude between us. This is like relationship. Then we have the temperament. This is usually a word that describes the rating that this particular faction's leader is to go to war. You can see their integrity. This is how often they break treaties. The player is realistically going to break the most treaties. This does recover over time. It's kind of like an average of the past X amount of turns. It's not a rating based on how you've been the entire game. And a good thing it's not, because you'll find that you need to make allies and then turn on them later, and vice versa, back and forth, as you expand, kind of like forming a wall of friends, then kind of imploding it so you can get through them over and over again. That's going to be pretty common. So that's what all of these mean. And then since trading is kind of a part of diplomacy, you can also see your trade goods here to see what ones you are importing and what ones you are exporting in your trade. And even if you're lacking any at all, there's more in-depth views of that, but this is a diplomacy guide and not an economy guide. If we go into negotiations with someone that we are not at war with, it's going to look something kind of like that. The opposing side will always have something to say to you, kind of just a mood of how they are. Little character model in a little room. It's pretty cool. They don't really do quite this anymore, quite this much effort. But here we have our treaties that we could make. There is, of course, the trade agreement. These are very profitable. Not only will you get access to resources, which will allow you to make certain units, you'll be able to sell yours, and just in general, trade, especially the longer it goes on, as a game goes on, will just provide just these base, kind of like tariff resources as well, that will improve based on long-term partnerships. These are great for money. The longer you have them, the better. You do want as many of these as possible for your own income and situation, but be careful about trading with someone that you plan on attacking, because you will be kind of indirectly funding their rise to power in the meantime. Not that that's that big of a deal, because the AI in Total War, they cheat anyway, and they get a lot of additional money and things the player does not, especially if they are struggling. So this benefits you more than it benefits any AI. You can request alliances. Anytime you do click on something, by the way, it'll show the deal. It'll show what the person thinks about it. It's unacceptable. In this game, they actually have like words to describe it. In others, they use like colors and such, but there's not just that. You can also request, for example, military access, which in this game, you can have pretty precise amounts, like how long do you want this to be. In a lot of other Total Wars, it's just indefinite and mutual no matter what, but it can be very one-sided here. You can just flat out go to declare war on someone through this screen, which you can do outside of this screen as well by just trying to attack someone, but you can see their allies that they have. You can just trespass on their lands, so it'll make them hate you. That's an option. See your allies as well, just to get an idea of the strategic situation that you might be getting yourselves into. You could demand that another side break an alliance that they have, or place an embargo on a clan. This mostly matters if they just have a bunch of trade partners, really. You could request that they join your wars, or even the other way around. You can give payments of money one way or the other. This can kind of be a threat. It could be just part of an agreement where you're trying to get something via a trade. You can arrange marriages, but the main reason to do this is not like Crusader Kings where you're trying to set up lineages. It's more like to improve relations between the two specifically. You know, the exchanging of hostages in a way, which is also its own thing. You could just exchange a child hostage as well in addition to this. Kind of unique to Shogun 2 that I want to mention is, regardless of your diplomacy, there comes a time where you're progressing through the conquest of Japan where everybody that remains in the game will actually turn on you, depending on your game mode. They will turn on you and all come together to unify against and attack you once you get enough territories. So take your time going through. There is still that limit, because you might diplomatically disadvantage yourself. Don't rely too heavily on trade, but definitely use it to your advantage, because eventually, especially if you're going for the long-term campaigns, you will reach a situation where this diplomacy only exists to screw you over. Nice, short, simple guide to help you guys understand the basics. Diplomacy in Total War is never a complicated affair. Hopefully this has been helpful to you. If you have any questions, feel free to leave those in the comments below. If you want to see any other guides on this game, leave those suggestions in the comments below as well. I have a playlist in the description below where I'm going to be putting all the guides I make on this game. So for now, thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.